हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल द सोलफुल डायरी। आज के वीडियो में हम बात करेंगे मैथ्यू आर्नल्ड की पोम द स्कॉलर जिप्सी के बारे में। पोएट के बारे में पहले एक वीडियो में डिस्कस कर चुके हैं जिसका लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में है। चलिए पोम को डिस्कस करते हैं। पोम को इन डेप्थ डिस्कस करने से पहले जान लेते हैं उसके की फीचर्स। The Scholar Gipsy is based on the story about a scholar who abandoned academic life to join a band of gypsies. The various places and landmarks mentioned in the poem are all actual ones situated around Oxford. The shepherd is summoned to the hills to untie the battle coats, sheepfolds built of wattles or interwoven twigs, neither to leave his wistful flock unfed nor let his bawling fellows neither rack their throats nor allow the cropped grasses shoot another head. However, when the fields are calm and still, and tired men and dogs all gone to rest, one can see only the white sheep cross the strips of the moon blanched green. The shepherd must again renew the quest. The search for the scholar gypsy was believed to be still haunting the vicinity. A poor Oxford University student constitutes the central character of the scholar gypsy who abandoned his studies to learn about the supernatural powers of the gypsy people. In this poem, attitude of Arnold towards the gypsy is similar to the attitude of an adult towards a child. Arnold appreciates the innocence of the gypsy and envies it at the same time, but finally realizes that he could not return to such a state of innocence. Arnold believes that the child lost its innocence not due to some sin but simply by gaining experience and developing into an adult. The gypsy similarly was the manifestation of a good that was lost. When Arnold juxtaposes the gypsy's composure with the problems of his own age, he is not lampooning the 19th century, but it rather exploring its spiritual and emotional losses. At the end, it can be said that Scholar Gypsy is a great modern melancholy poem, widened and spiritualized into the spirit of mystery and dreams. चलिए अब पोम को इन डेप्थ में डिस्कस करते हैं। स्टैंजा 1 Go for they call you shepherd from the hill. Go shepherd and untie the wattled coats. No longer leave the wistful flock unfed, nor let thy bawling fellows drag their throats, nor the cropped herbage shoot another head. But when the fields are still, and the tired men and dogs all gone to rest, and only the white sheep are sometimes seen. Cross and recross the strips of moon blanched green. Come, shepherd, and again begin the quest. This stanza, a shepherd is being called to release his sheep from their enclosure, wattled coats, and feed them. The flock is described as wistful and bawling, indicating their longer for nourishing and attention. The poem then shifts to the evening when the fields are quiet and the men and dogs have retired. The only movement comes from the white sheep which are seen crossing the moonlit fields. The poem concludes with a plea for the shepherd to return and continue his quest, the nature of which is left unspecified. The poem seems to be contrasting the shepherd's daily duties with a more mysterious and personal pursuit. The imagery of the moonlit fields and the sheep movement contributes to a sense of mystery and intrigue. Stanza 2 Here, where the reaper was at work of late, in this high field's dark corner, where he leaves his coat, his basket, and his earthen cruse, and in the sun along all morning binds the sheaves. Then here at noon comes back his stores to use. Here will I sit and wait, while to my ear from uplands far away the bleating of the folded flocks is borne, with distant cries of reapers in the corn, all the live murmur of a summer's day. In this stanza, The poet is speaking about the fields where a reaper is harvesting the crops. The reaper has left behind his belongings in a corner of the field. A curse is a small earthenware jar, likely for water. The reaper has been working all morning gathering the cut stalks of grains into bundles called sheaves. The reaper returns at noon to use the items he left behind, probably to have lunch. The speaker decides to sit and wait in that spot. The speaker hears the sound of sheep bleating from distant hills. The speaker also hears other reapers working in a distance, contributing to the lively sounds of the summer day. In the stanza, the poet feels a sense of peace and contentment as the speaker observes the rural landscape and listens to the sounds of nature and human activity. Stanza 3. Screened is the snook over the high, half reaped field, and here till sundown shepherd will I be. Through the thick corn the scarlet poppies peep, and round green roots and yellowing stalks I see. Pale pink convolvulus in tendrils creep, and air swept lindens healed. Their scent and rustle down their perfumed shower of bloom on the bent grass where I am led, and bower me from the August sun with shade, and the eye travels down to Oxford Towers. In this stanza, the speaker is describing a secluded spot overlooking a partially harvested field, providing a peaceful setting. The speaker addresses a shepherd, expressing his intention to stay in this tranquil spot until sunset. Vivid imagery of red poppies peeping through the ripe corn stalks adds to the rustic setting. The speaker observes delicate pink convolvulus flowers twining around the corn stalks, highlighting the beauty of nature. The speaker describes the fragrant Indian trees, their blossoms falling on the grass where he lies, creating a sensory rich experience. The linden tree provides shade, protecting the speaker from the hot August sun. The speaker gaze shifts from the natural beauty of the field to the distant towers of Oxford, symbolizing the world beyond the pastoral setting. Stanza 4. And near me on the glass lies the Glanvill's book. Come, let me read the oft read tale again, the story of the Oxford scholar poor, of pregnant hearts and quick, inventive brain, who tired of knocking at preferment store, one summer morn forsook his friends and went to learn the gypsy lore, and roamed the world with that wild brotherhood, and came as most men deemed to little good, but came to Oxford and his friends no more. In the stanza, the speaker is telling about a scholar who left the Oxford University to join the band of gypsies seeking the more authentic and meaningful existence. The speaker is sitting in nature and notices Glanvill's book, which tells the story of the scholar gypsy. The speaker reflects on the scholar's decision to abandon his studies and embrace a nomadic life with gypsies. The scholar was tired of seeking advancement in traditional academic circles, knocking at preferment store, and desired a deeper connection to life and knowledge. The scholar's choice is seen as unconventional and likely not leading to material success, little good. But it is also presented as a romantic and adventurous pursuit of a different kind of wisdom. The poem reflects on themes of escapism, the allure of the natural world, and the search for meaning beyond the social norms. Stanza 5. But 1 years after, in the country lanes, two scholars whom at college erst he knew met him, and of his way of life inquired, whereat he answered that the gypsy crew, his mates, had arts to rule as they desired the workings of men's brains, and they can bind them to what thoughts they will. And I, he said, the secret of their art, when fully learned, will to the world impart, but it needs heaven sent moments for the skill. In the stanza, the speaker encounters a former scholar who has abandoned academia to join a group of gypsies. The speaker's friends inquire about the scholar's new life. The scholar explains that his gypsy companions possess the ability to influence and control the minds of others. He is learning the secret art from them, and once mastered, he intends to share it with the world. However, he acknowledges that acquiring the skill requires moments of divine inspiration or heaven sent moments. The stanza pursues the themes of knowledge and allure of unconventional wisdom. The scholar's decision to leave academia represents a rejection of traditional learning in favor of a more mystical and experiential path. The poem also hints at the power of the human mind and the potential for manipulation and control. Stanza 6. They said he left them and returned no more, but rumors hung about the countryside that the lost scholar long was seen to stray, seen by rare glimpses, pensive and tongue tied, in hat of antique shape and cloak of grey, the same the gypsies wore. Shepherds had met him on the Hurst in spring, at some lone alehouse in the Berkshire moors. On the warm ingle bench, the smock-frocked boors had found him seated at their entering. After telling his former classmates about his life with the gypsies, the scholar departs and is not seen again by them. Stories and gossip spread among the local people about the scholar's whereabouts. People claim to have occasionally spotted the scholar wandering the countryside. The sightings were infrequent and the scholar appeared lost in thought and silent. He was described as wearing old fashioned clothing similar to the gypsies. This confirms that he was still dressed like the gypsies he had joined. Shepherds encountered him in the hills during springtime. He was also seen as in isolated pubs in the Berkshire region. Farmers in traditional clothing found him sitting by the fireplace. The scholar was already present when they entered the pub. Stanza 7. But mid their drink and clatter he would fly, and I myself seem half to know thy looks, and put the shepherd's wanderer on thy trace, and boys who in lone wheat fields care the rooks. I ask if thou hast passed their quiet place, or in my boat I lie, moored to the cool bank in the summer heats, mid wide grass meadows which the sunshine fills, and watch the warm green muffled Cumnor hills, and wonder if thou hauntest their shy retreats. Gypsy is not the one to engage in idle chatter and drinking. He seeks solitude and a deeper connection with nature. The speaker feels a strong connection to the gypsy, almost as if he recognizes him from somewhere. The speaker imagines asking shepherds if they have seen the gypsy, emphasizing his elusive nature. He also asks young boys working in a field if they have encountered the gypsy. The speaker wonders if the gypsy has visited these peaceful locations. The speaker imagines himself relaxing in the boat. The boat is docked by the river bank on a hot summer day. He is surrounded by sunlit meadows. He observes the nearby Cumnor Hills covered in lush greenery. The speaker contemplates where the gypsy seeks refuge in these secluded places. Stanza 8. For most I know thou lovest retired crown. Thee at the fairy Oxford riders glide, returning home on summer nights have met. Crossing the stripling Thames at Bab Lock Hyde, trailing in the cool stream, thy fingers wet. as the punt rope chops round and leaning backward in a pensive dream, and fostering in thy lap a heap of flowers, plucked in shy fields and distant witchwood bowers, and thine eyes resting on the moonlit stream. The speaker acknowledges that the scholar prefers secluded places. People returning from Oxford on summer evenings have encountered the scholar at the ferry. This line specifies the location of the Thames River where the scholar is often seen. The scholar is depicted trailing his fingers in the water while the rope of a punt, a flat bottomed boat, moves around. The scholar is leaning back, lost in the thought, with a collection of flowers on his lap. The flowers were gathered from secluded fields and the woods of Witchwood. The scholar's gaze is fixed on the moonlit river. Stanza 9. And then they land, and thou art seen no more. Maidens who from the distant hamlets come to dance around the five-field elm in May. Oft through the darkening fields have seen the roam, or cross a stile into the public way. Oft thou hast given them store of flowers, the frail-leaved white anemone, dark bluebells drenched with dews of summer leaves, and purple orchises with spotted leaves. But none had words she can report of thee. In this stanza, the poet addresses a mysterious figure landing only to disappear from sight. Maidens from nearby villages come to dance around a five-field elm tree in May. These maidens have often seen the figure wandering in the darkening fields or crossing a stile into a public path. He has generously given them flowers like fragile white anemones, deep bluebells soaked with summer evening dew, and purple orchids with spotted leaves. Despite these encounters, none of the maidens can articulate anything about the enigmatic figure. Stanza 10. And above Godstow Bridge, when hay times here in June, and many a side in sunshine flames, men who through those wide fields of breezy grass, where black-winged swallows haunt the glittering Thames to bathe in the abandoned Lasher Pass, have often passed thee near, sitting upon the river bank overgrown. Thine outlandish garb, thy figure spare, thy dark vague eyes and soft abstracted air, but when they came from bathing thou wast gone. It describes a mysterious figure, the scholar Gipsy, who is said to have abandoned his studies at Oxford to join a band of gypsies. The line paint a picture of him sitting by the river Thames, observed by men who go bathing in the river during hay time in June. The men notice his unusual clothing, thin figure, and dreamy, distant expression. However, when they return from their swim, he has vanished. The Stanza 11. At some lone homestead in the Cumnor Hills, where at her open door the housewife danced, thou hast been seen, or hanging on a gate, to watch the treasures in the mossy barns, children who early ranged these slopes and late for creases from the rills, have known thee, eyeing all an April day, the springing pasture in the feeding kine, and marked thee when the stars come out and shine through the long dewy grass move slow away. The speaker imagines the scholar being seen at a remote farmhouse in the Cumnor Hills where a housewife is mending clothes at her open door. He envisions the scholar leaning on a gate, watching the threshers working in the mossy barns, children who roam the hillsides searching for watercress in the streams, have encountered the scholar observing the lush pasture and the grazing cattle throughout an entire day. Have also noticed him moving slowly through the tall, dew covered grass as the stars emerge at night. Stanza 12. In autumn, on the skirts of Bagley Wood, where most the gypsies by the turf-edged way pitch their smoke tents, and every bush you see with scarlet patches tagged and shreds of grey above the forest ground called Tesley, the blackbird picking food, sees thee, nor stops his meal, nor fears at all. So often has he known thee, past him stray, wrapped, twirling in thy hand a withered spray, and waiting for the spark from heaven to fall. In the stanza, the poet is telling about the gypsies who in autumn are seen near a forest, and a blackbird is unfazed by their presence. The person seems to be holding a withered branch, possibly waiting for inspiration. There is a mention of winter scene or a cozy cold causeway in this stanza. Stanza 13. And once in winter, on the causeway chill, where home through flooded fields for travellers go, have I not passed thee on the wooden bridge? Wrapped in thy cloak and battling with the snow, thy face tarred Hinksey and its wintry ridge, and thou hast climbed a hill and gained the wide brow of the Cumnor range, turned once to watch while thick the snowflakes fall, the line of festal light in Christ Church Hall, then sought the straw in some sequestered grange. The speaker reflects on a memory of encountering his friend in winter on a chilly causeway where travelers cross flooded fields to reach home. The friend is wrapped in a cloak, paddling against the snow, facing towards Hinks's Hills and its wintry ridge. The speaker further recalls the friend climbing the hill, reaching the white peak of the Cumnor Range, and pausing to watch the line of festive lights in Christchurch Hall while snowflakes fall heavily. Finally, the friend sought shelter in a secluded granage, a farmhouse, or barn. Stanza 14. But for that dream, 200 years are flown since first thy story ran through Oxford halls. And the grave Clanville did the tale inscribe that thou when wert wandered from the studious walls to learn strange arts and join a gypsy tribe, and thou from earth art gone. Long since and in some quiet churchyard led, some country nook where over thy unknown grave tall grasses and white flowering nettles wave, under a dark red rooted yew tree shade. The speaker contemplates the passage of 200 years since the story of the scholar Gipsy first circulated in Oxford. He references Joseph Glanville, a 17th century writer who documented the tale. The speaker imagines the scholar Gipsy's eventual death and burial in an unknown countryside churchyard, marked by tall grasses, white flowering nettles, and the shade of a yew tree. Team. No, no, thou hast not left felt the lapse of hours, for what wears out the life of mortal men? 'Tis that from change to change their beings rolls. 'Tis that repeated shocks again exhaust the energy of strongest souls, and numb the elastic bars, till having used our nerves with bliss and pain, and tired upon a thousand schemes are wit, to the just pausing genius we remit our worn out life and are what we have been. The speaker is addressing someone claiming they haven't truly experienced the passing of time. The speaker asks what causes the decline and eventual end of human life. The answer lies in the constant flux and changes that life brings. The speaker emphasizes that continuous challenges and hardships gradually deplete even the most resilient individuals. This stanza also suggests that both joy and sorrow, as well as the constant pursuit of various plans and ambitions, contribute to wearing down our mental and physical strength. In the end, we surrender our exhausted lives to a higher power or faith and return to our essential selves the same as we were before. Stanza 16. Thou hast not lived. Why shouldest thou perish so? Thou hadst one aim, one business, one desire. Else wert thou long since numbered with the dead. Else hadst thou spent like other men thy fire. The generations of thy peers are fled, and we ourselves shall go. But thou possessest an immortal lot, and we imagine thee exempt from age, and living as thou livest on Glanville's page, because thou hadst what we alas have not. The speaker questions why the donkey should die, as it hasn't truly experienced life in the way humans do. The donkey has a straightforward existence focused on fulfilling its basic needs and duties. The speaker implies that if the donkey has lived a complex life like humans, it would have succumbed to the struggles and disappointments that often lead to an early death. The speaker suggests that humans burn through their energy and passion, unlike the gypsies who live a more steady and consistent life. The speaker acknowledges that both humans and gypsies are subject to the passage of time and mortality. The gypsies, however, achieves a kind of immortality through its simple and changing existence. Clanville's book likely depicts the gypsies as a timeless creature, further reinforcing the idea of its immortality. The speaker concludes by lamenting that humans lack the simplicity and contentment that the gypsies possess. Stanza 17. For early didst thou leave the world with bars, fresh and diverted to the world without, firm to their mark, not spent on other things, free from the sick fatigue, the languid doubt, which much to have tried and much been baffled brings. O life unlike to ours, who fluctuate idly without term or scope, of whom each strives nor knows for what he strives, and each half lives 100 different lives, who wait like thee but not like thee in hope. The speaker addresses someone who passed away at a young age, whose potential and abilities remained untouched by worldly concerns. This person's focus and determination were unwavering, not wasted on trivial pursuits. The deceased is described as being free from the weariness and uncertainty that comes with experiencing life's challenges and failures. The speaker contrasts their own life with the deceased, emphasizing their own lack of direction and purpose. The speaker sense that people often pursue goals without understanding their true desires, leading to fragmented and unfulfilling lives. The speaker and others may share the same fate of death, but unlike the deceased, they lack the hope and optimism that the young person possessed. 18. Thou waitest for the spark from heaven, and we, light half believers of our casual creeds, who never deeply felt nor clearly willed, whose insight never has borne fruit in deeds, whose vague resolves never have been fulfilled, for whom each year we see breeds new beginnings, disappointment new, who hesitate and falter life away and lose tomorrow the ground won today. Ah, no, do not we wander away that too. The speaker addresses someone who is waiting for a divine intervention or inspiration to act. The speaker describes themselves and others as having a superficial faith lacking deep conviction or commitment. The speaker emphasizes a lack of strong emotions or clear intentions in their lives. The speaker points out that their resolutions are often unclear and remain unfulfilled. Each year brings new opportunities for change, but they are met with disappointment due to a lack of action. The speaker describes a life characterized by indecision and hesitation, which leads to wasted time and potential. The speaker concludes by asking whether they, like the person addressed at the beginning, are also waiting for a spark to ignite their lives and bring about meaningful change. So 19. Yes, we awaited, but it still delays. And then we suffer, and amongst us one who most has suffered takes dejectedly his seat upon the intellectual throne. and all his store of sad experience he lays bare of wretched days, tell us his misery's birth and growth and signs, and how the dying spark of hope was fed, and how the breast was soothed, and how the head, and all his early varied anodins. The speaker and others are waiting something, perhaps inspiration or happiness, but it hasn't arrived, leading to suffering. The person who has suffered the most becomes the authoritative figure, sharing their experiences. And the person shares their history of suffering and unhappiness. The speaker describes the origin, development, and signs of their misery, including how they clung to hope, found comfort, and dealt with their Stanza 20. This for our wisest and we others pine and wish the long unhappy dream would end. And we've all claim to bliss and try to bear with close lipped patience for our only friend. Sad patience, too near neighbor to despair, but none has hope like thine. Thou through the fields and through the woods dost stray, roaming the countryside a truant boy, nursing thy project in unclouded joy, and every doubt long blown by time away. The speaker tells that this is for wise among us, uh, while the rest of us suffer and yearn. We long for the end of the difficult period. We give up our desires for happiness and try to endure. We rely on silent patience as our only companion. Patience, though helpful, is closely linked to despair, but no one has hope like you, the person the poem is addressed to. You wander through fields and woods, you roam the countryside like a carefree boy playing hooky. You nurture your plants with pure joy. All doubts have been swept away by time. At 21, oh, born in days when wits were fresh and clear, and life ran gaily as the sparkling Thames, before this strange disease of modern life, with its sick hurry, its divided aims, its heads overtaxed, its palsied hearts was rife. Fly hence our contact fear, still fly, plungered deep in the borrowing lands, ever as Tito did with gesture stern. From her false friends approach in hate's turn, wave us away and keep thy solitude. This stanza reflects a nostalgia for a simpler past when intellect and thought were valued and unburdened by modern complexities. The Thames River represents the carefree flow of life in the past, contrasting with the sick hurry of modern times. Arnold refers to the anxieties and pressure of modern existence as a disease. He criticizes the fast paced, fragmented nature of modern life where people are constantly rushing and pulled in different directions. It also highlights the mental and emotional toll of modern life, leading to exhaustion and a loss of feeling. The speaker urges the scholar gypsy to escape from the modern world and seek refuge in nature. This alludes to the story of Dido, who rejected Aeneas in the underworld, symbolizing the scholar gypsy's rejection of the modern world. The speaker asks the scholar gypsy to maintain his distance and preserve his isolated, peaceful existence. 22. Still nursing the unconquerable hope, still clutching the inviolable shade, with a free onward impulse brushing through. By night, the silvered branches of the glade, far on the forest skirts, where none pursue, on some mild pastoral slope, emerge and resting on the moonlit vales, freshen thy flowers as in former years with dew, or listen with enchanted ears from the dark tingles or to the nightingales. The speaker imagines the spirits of the deceased still holding on to hope even in death. They clinch to the shadows, representing the peace and rest of death. Their spirits move freely through the night, unburdened by earthly limitations. The moonlit light illuminates the tree, creating a serene atmosphere. The spirits venture to secluded places where they can be alone. They appear on a peaceful hillside. They rest on the moonlit fences, enjoying their tranquility. They revive their flowers, symbolizing their enduring presence. They listen to the sounds of nature, such as nightingales, with a sense of wonder. 23. But fly are parts are feverish contact fly. For strong the infection of our mental strife, which though it gives no bliss, yet spoils for rest. And we should win thee from thy own fair life. Life us distracted and like us unblessed. Soon, soon they cheer would die. Thy hopes grow timorous and unfix thy powers, and thy clear aims be cross and shifting made, and thy glad perennial youth would fade and grow old at last and die like ours. The speaker urges the addressee to avoid their company and the influence of their troubled mind. The speaker's internal turmoil is described as contagious, capable of spreading to Marguerite. The speaker's mental state doesn't offer happiness but prevents peace and tranquility. The speaker fears that their influence would draw Marguerite away from their own company. The speaker believes they would make Marguerite as troubled and unhappy as they are. The speaker anticipates the Marguerite's joy and optimism would fade quickly. Gypsy's hope would become fearful and her abilities would become unstable. Gypsy's goals and aspirations would become confused and uncertain. The speaker believes Gypsy's youthful spirit would diminish and age permanently. Ultimately, the speaker fears that Gypsy's happiness would wither away, leaving her with a life as bleak as their own. Stanza 24. Then fly our greetings, fly our speech and smiles, as some grave Tyrian trader from the sea descried at sunrise an emerging prow, lifting the cool-haired creepers stealthily, the fringes of her southward-facing brow, among the eager Isles, and saw the merry Grecian coaster come, frightened with amber grapes and Chian wine, green bursting figs and tunnies steeped in Rhine, and knew the intruders on his ancient home. The speaker is telling the scholar gypsy to avoid their greetings and interaction. The speaker compares the scholar gypsy to a serious Phoenician trader who spots an approaching ship at dawn. The ship is stealthily navigating through Aegean Islands. The trader sees a Greek ship approaching laden with goods. The trader recognizes that these Greeks are invaders coming to his homeland. In essence, the speaker is advising the scholar gypsy to avoid contact, comparing his situation to the trader who flees from intruders. The modern world, represented by the Greeks, threatened the scholar gypsy's idyllic, isolated life, symbolized by the tyrant trader. 25. The young light-hearted masters of the waves and snatched his rudder and shook out more sail, and day and night held on indignantly over the blue Sirids and soft Sicily to where the Atlantic waves outside the western straits and unbent sails. There were down cloudy cliffs, rude sheets of foam, shy traffickers, the dark Iberian scum, and on the beach entered his corded bales. The poem tells the story of a young scholar gypsy to join a manor. This passage describes the journey of the scholar gypsy as he sails with a group of young carefree sailors. They navigate the Mediterranean Sea, passing between the treacherous sided sandbanks and island of Sicily, and venture out into the Atlantic Ocean, eventually reaching the western coast of the Liberian Peninsula, where they unload their cargo. The poem reflects on the poetic devices in the poem. Alliteration. A series of similar sounds can be used to control the mood of the poem. For example, a series of S sounds can make a poem sound sharp or sinister. Uh, Onomatopoeia, which uses words to imitate sounds associated with actions. Hyperbole, which uses exaggeration for emphasis. Caesura, which forces readers to pause and reevaluate their thoughts. Simile, metaphor, irony, and illusion. Themes. Disillusionment. The poem is about a poor Oxford student who is disillusioned with the modern world and wants to proclaim his individuality. Individuality, the scholar wants to remain in the world while not being fully a part of it. Pursuit of wisdom. The scholar wants to learn about the gypsy way of life and their wisdom, which he wants to share with the outside world. Attitude towards the gypsy. Arnold appreciates the innocence of the gypsy but also envies it, realizing they can't return to that stage of innocence. The ghost of each of us. The moon represents the living ghost of each of us, made up of recollections, wishes, and promises. थैंक यू। आई होप आज की वीडियो आपको अच्छी लगी होगी। कैसी लगी हमें लिखकर ज़रूर बताएं, और आप आने वाले वीडियोस किस टॉपिक पर देखना चाहते हैं वो भी हमें कमेंट करके बताएं। और अगर वीडियो अच्छी लगी तो लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब टू माय चैनल। मिलते हैं कल एक और इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियो के साथ शाम 4 बजे।